Proud of boys, peace. Giving y'all some views. In my area, another snowstorm. But to me, this is peaceful, brothers. Quiet, calmness, representation of how our state, physical, emotional, spiritual state should be. White is the color of refinement. And once when you are tapped into the universe and things going on around you, when you tapped into self, you're able to connect the dots and the seasons. As the seasons go, as the seasons change, you recognize the changes, and the changes will reflect itself from the inside out. It's getting cold out here for real. Proud of boys. Back in the crib, staying warm. Peace once again. We're going to talk about being in solitude, having peace with yourself. When you look at some of these words, the state that we're in, some people can confuse solitude with being lonely or being in a lonely state. But with the condition of the mind, some people may take that as a negative thing. All in all, this is a positive thing to be in solitude, and especially if you are on the semen retention journey. You do your study on some of these words, how they originate, where they come from, what they refer to, such as Latin. Latin origin for solitude comes from solus, being alone, or your soul. One soul, that's you. But this doesn't have to do anything with being lonely or being a lonely soul. Being in solitude has to do with recognizing your soul. Some of us have a soul mission, a soul purpose, but you won't be able to determine your soul mission or your soul purpose if you have people around you to influence you with opinions and also their negativity and their negative thoughts. Being peaceful, being solid, being in a state where you hold firm to what you stand on and what brings you peace. Now this leads you to find the company that you may keep or the company that you invite around you, if they are going to bring peace or bring destruction. This company that you keep around, you got a choice to make. Will they disturb your solitude or bring more peace to your solitude? Or does your peace and calmness rub off on them and teaches them their own solitude, to be with self, to learn themselves, to know themselves? You can be a representation of people learning how to be themselves and also being alone. Being alone isn't a bad thing. See, true solitude allows you time to reflect. The only thing you can reflect on is yourself, self-reflection, right? But this brings you to a state, no matter what you're going through, when you reflect and trying to find inner peace, as long as with that sitting with yourself, figuring things out with yourself. See, the solitude allows you to spend quality time with yourself. A lot of us think just sitting around, taking a nap, being in the house for a day, getting some rest, cleaning around, or whatever the case may be, is time for yourself. But this solitude is true time with yourself, spending quiet time with yourself. Even things that you may love or like to do or hobbies, sometimes we have to put those things away and really sit with ourselves and find inner peace. You guys who understand this process of semen retention and how this journey goes, sometimes we can get deterred because we still have to deal with regular life. We have to deal with society. We find more comfort with ourselves because of our emotions, how to use them, how to channel them. So being in this solitude is very key. Once when you find yourself in this state, don't take it as a negative thing. You don't have females around, your friends don't connect with you, and sometimes even your family may look at you weird. But count it all joy, because you are going to be in a state of finding yourself. And in that state, going through the process, you ultimately become free. You deal with freedom, true freedom. Being free and having that time alone, it allows you to do a couple things. One of the things, showing yourself that love, self-love, is one of the things we always harp about on this journey. Not just conserving your life force energy, but that real self-love, taking care of yourself, being alone with yourself, listening to yourself. Get to break away from society. That's why I say you are free. And not just society norms, you break away from the norms, but also the opinions of society, the negativity of society. And not to say that society is negative, but in the same sense, there's more negative in the group than there is positive. When you get to reflect, take a step back, be in your solitude, understand what you are willing to deal with on the negative and what you are willing to let in, you can break away from the negativity and just introduce more positivity. But it takes you being alone to figure out what it is that you need and what you want. And this freedom that comes from solitude, this allows you to control your space, time, your body, and your mind. All I said, guys, with love, peace.